and welcome back to the David Spatz Show. We're backstage at Harrah's in Atlantic City, where our guest Lou Rawls just completed rehearsing for a weekend engagement here. This is your first time back in quite a while.
Oh boy, how 10 years, man.
10 years in this property.
At this property, yeah. Matter of fact, I think I was one of the first few of the acts that came in here
when they started playing the name acts here. You were high up on the list. You also were at Resorts very early on.
Yeah, well, Resorts, that was actually the first place that I played, you know, and then, of course, it started to mushroom, and then they came in with all the others. Then I played the Golden Nugget, and I played the Sands.
You played just about every place in town.
Almost.
Well, that's a good start anyway.
Yeah, well, it's a good start. You know, actually, the first time I came to Atlantic City, I played out on the pier.
Steel Pier.
Boy.
So, listen, we just got done listening to you at rehearsal.
Yeah. And
maybe it's my good ears, but you sound better today. That voice, that instrument of yours, sounds better today than at any time.
Well,
what's the secret, Lou?
I don't know. I imagine if you keep, what can I say, practicing your craft, eventually you reach a point to where you start to kind of, what can I say, excel. Maybe is the right word, or maybe it isn't, but I'm having a good time. See, that's the thing. I'm having a good time.
I mean, you just did something that I've seen very few performers do, and I've seen a lot of rehearsals before. I have never seen anyone who works with their own band. All 5 of those guys up there were your guys. You ran through every number, and yet you probably sang them a couple of nights ago, that same show, but you ran through every number.
Yeah, well, because, you see, one thing I've found over the years, you always find a little something new if you stay at it, If you just say, okay, I'm gonna record this song, and that's it, and only sing it when I'm requested to sing it. Well, then you never really find nothing new to add to the song. You never find any new little nuances that you could, vocally put in or instrumentally. So, and I've got musicians that are, they're Class A, top of the line guys. And even they, when I say, hey guys, let's rehearse, they, okay man, let's do it. Because they're always looking for something new, something fresh.
It's not a drag. It's not,
no. It livens it up. And when you figure, I've been singing Tobacco Road for 30 years, okay? All right. I've been singing Lady Love and You'll Never Find for 15
Well, I was going to say, now here's this, there are songs that you have literally performed thousands of times.
That's right.
What new can you find in a song when you've sung it that much?
It's amazing, but you can.
Really?
It's really amazing. Like today, I found a couple of things today and a couple of songs that I've been singing a long time that I can do. And for some reason, you don't even think about it. It just kind of happens. It just falls in. Like Tobacco Road, man. I've been singing Tobacco Road for 30 years, man. And you know what? I'll go on stage, and if I don't sing it in the show, somebody come and say, the show was okay, Lou, but you didn't sing my favorite song. I said, what was that? Tobacco Road. I said, oh, please. But you find, I don't know, it's just something happens when you're rehearsing like that, and just like out of nowhere, this little thing, say, let me try this and see if it works. And it falls right in, And after a while, you get to a point to where certain things will work and certain things won't. So, you try those that won't work, just to be sure. And then you say, okay, now if I don't turn it that way, if I turn it this way, maybe it'll fit better. So then you do, and you experiment, and that's what I'm doing.
Now, of course, I'm sure you got a kick out of singing Tobacco Road at rehearsal today because of the staging. You're working on the set of the Broadway musical Oliver.
Yes,
and you've kind of adapted that to your show.
Actually, it fits because it fits. When I walked in and saw it, I said, yeah, man, that's Tobacco Road.
Exactly.
And it fits so well in the way it's staged and set up. It gives me a chance to actually do a little acting kind of thing, And so when I talked to the people here at the hotel, they said, well, man, if you could use it, we sure would appreciate it because we'd have to tear it down and build it back up.
Save them thousands of dollars.
I said, hey, no problem. I got no problem with that. And it fits so well. And then the rest of it, once I get past the beginning of the show, it just falls right into place because just about everything that I'm doing kind of, you know, what can I say, intonates or just fits right into the groove. I mean, you know, the love, pain, happiness, you know, ups, downs, and things of life. That's, you know, and that set kind of...
It does fit because the show, Oliver, it kind of has a dark story to it. And the music that you do, the jazz, the blues, well, it has a dark side to a certain extent. And I think it's just it's a great marriage.
It fits very well. We were just talking. I said, well, listen, find out where Oliver's going next. Maybe I can get a job.
Well, I mentioned your manager. I was going to get the routing list, so you can follow them in each city.
That'll work.
You mentioned that something like that gives you a chance to kind of bring out a little bit of the actor in you. I know you just signed to do the series Baywatch Nights with David Hasselhoff.
Yes.
This is what he's going to be. He's not Lieutenant Mitch, or no, he is Lieutenant Mitch Buchanan, but only now he's a private detective at night.
Yes, he and Gregory are forming a private detective agency, and it turns out that their office, is in my nightclub, you know. So it was really something. We shot the pilot, you know, a lot of fun, man. Of course, Baywatch, if you can believe this, I mean, I gotta believe it, it's the most viewed show in television history. They got 1 billion people watch that show. Well, I can understand why, because I was on the set. You know what I mean? I mean, you know. And so what they're doing actually is just taking it off the beach and putting it in sort of a nightclub setting. Of course, they'll be doing a lot of other different, you know, sets and venues and things. But I'm happy about it because it's such a natural for me, being a nightclub manager or all that kind of thing. I said, well, hey, man, that fits me perfectly. David called me. He said, Lou, he said, we're coming up with a new show. I said, yeah. He said, yeah. He said, it's called Baywatch Nights. We're going to be private detectives, but we're going to do it. The setting will be a nightclub, and we want you to be the manager owner of the nightclub. So you can do that, and you can sing, too, if you want to.
I was going to ask, is there room for you to sing in this?
Yes. I said, well, cool, man. So we shot the pilot, and that was distressful because I did Baywatch once before, but the part that I did, I mean, my segment I was in, there wasn't a lot of, you know, of the Baywatch cutie pies, you know what I mean? But this time, man, whoa, buddy, listen, they didn't have on the bathing suits though. See, they had on.
I was going to mention it. I had spoken to David Hasselhoff, did a pay-per-view special out of Atlantic City this summer, and I had asked him about this new series he was going to do, and he said, no bikinis.
Yeah.
He said, this is at night, no bikinis.
But they got on the micro mini dresses, so it might, you know, I mean.
He never told me that.
Right. See, you know, I mean, it was like every time, you know, we would be doing a scene or something, you know, and one of the girls would kind of do that, the whole crew would go. But it's a lot of fun. And I think the show is going to be a winner. You know, it's a sort of a different take. It's something like, I guess you could say, Sergeant Friday, you know, that kind of a...
The one from Dragnet.
You know, Dragnet, that kind of thing. Only this takes place in a beach kind of setting. And, you know, it's more updated and more up to what's happening now. But I'm telling you, it's a lot of fun. And I also just finished doing a part in a movie with Nicolas Cage called Leaving Las Vegas.
Really?
And I also
Is this a sequel or anything to Honeymoon in Vegas?
I don't know. No, I don't think it is. But then I also just finished filming another one called After the Game with John Glenn, not John Glenn. Glenn.
It was Glenn somebody anyway.
Yeah, everybody knows he's a great actor.
Who was it?
Glenn.
Jake, we have to ask our cameraman because he's Glenn who? Glenn
Ford?
No,
not
Glenn Ford. He's dead.
No. This John Glenn. John
was
Glenn
the
was an astronaut.
Right.
Did he play John Glenn?
No.
No, he didn't play John Glenn.
Anyway,
it was Glenn somebody.
Yeah. But he's a well-known person.
Scott Glenn.
Thank you. Scott Glenn. Yeah, Scott Glenn. Yeah. Scott Glenn. And I did another one called Flight of the Dove. And I did another movie called Looking Italian, where I play like the neighborhood guy that knows everybody. And, it's a story about the drive-by shootings and all that stuff. I don't know. I guess I did acting a long time ago when I first got started. I did a role on the Big Valley. I was a cowboy, and that was great. I enjoyed that. And then I did a couple of other, guest shots.
Well, you
on
did
the show.
77 Sunset Strip, too.
That was,
right?
Whoa, buddy, that was a while ago. Then I also did Fantasy Island. That was great, man.
Yeah, everybody wanted to do Fantasy Island when that show was on. That and The Love Boat.
Mm-hmm, right. And I never did Love Boat, but I did Fantasy Island. But I think everybody wants to do Baywatch, man.
And you got it.
Hey, buddy. Anyway, that's the thing, so people say, well, what are you doing? Are you going to stop singing? I said, no, I'm just trying to, expanding the career. I mean, usually it's actors that want to be singers, right? Like David Hasselhoff. And you know what's funny? This guy, man, in Europe, he is a super.
He's the biggest thing since sliced bread over there.
That's right. He draws 60, 70,000 people to concerts. He can't give himself away here in America. But then he hasn't.
Why do you suppose that is?
Well, it's because he hasn't pursued a musical career.
Right.
He's been so. I mean, let's face what he had. First, he was on a soap. What was it? General Hospital. Then he got Night Rider.
Right.
Now and then, then he gets Baywatch. So I mean, and it just. So he's never really pursued a singing career here in the States. As a matter of fact, I was in Vegas and I took him to Vegas with me and introduced him around to all the different, buyers in the hotels and things, and had him sing on my show and stuff. But I don't know, they just haven't really, I guess pressed that.
Plus the marketing of a musical artist in this country is so different than it is anywhere else in the world. I mean, you're only as good as your last 3 notes. Forget about your last song.
That's right. That's the truth, man. And that's a sad thing, too, because I just came, like I said, I was down in Southeast Asia. I was in Jakarta and Singapore. They're opening up new Blue Note, the Blue Note jazz clubs. Right. They opened them up. They got about 3 or 4 in Japan, and they got this one in Jakarta now. They opened one in Singapore. They're going to open one in Seoul, Korea. And the reason behind that, I feel, is that the people aren't bombarded with the music the way we are in the States. Right. Here we get it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There they get certain hours of the day that they get that kind of music played on the radio. Because most of the radio is government controlled, like in England, BBC One, BBC Two. Now, what that encompasses is really weird. You can be sitting there watching, listening to something, and all of a sudden they say, and we'll be right back in a few minutes with the continuation of this show, but right now we're going to take you to the home gardening show.
They just break it in the middle.
Right, yeah, just,
Weird.
But that's the way they do it. But the people there appreciate, what I'm saying is that they're more appreciative of our music.
Are they just discovering you down there? I mean, are you?
No, they know me down there.
Right.
But I'm saying that they appreciate American blues and jazz. They really appreciate it. Because like I said, they don't get a steady diet of it. And they can sit down, kids can sit down with you and talk about Louis Armstrong and Big Spider. These people, even we don't even remember, but they are so into it. They really are into the music. So consequently, when American artists go over there, they do very well. Man, there's a lot of American musicians and entertainers living in Europe and in the Far East. And over there, they really are accepted big time. Big names, they're big names there. Talking about the road.
If you wanna view paradise, simply look around and view it. Anything you want to do it. You wanna change the world, there's nothing to it. There is no life that I know to compare with pure imagination. Living there, you can be free if you dream.
Our marketing here in America is like, like you say, who was number one this morning?
Exactly.
And so consequently, you figure that with the release of 300 records a week in the record industry, and radio stations only select a maximum of 5 to add to their playlists, that means there's 295 records you ain't gonna never hear, And it's a shame because all of the work, that goes into putting these records together, man. The arrangements, the musicians, the time that you put into it, and all of that stuff. And then the record company, they say, okay, you got a record, okay, we're gonna put it out. and we're gonna put it out in about 3 or 4 test markets. And if it don't sell, then, you know, next case. Well, man, do you know how many artists there are that have never really gotten the exposure that if they had gotten the exposure, they would have really been, you know, successful and good. But the record companies today, all they want to do, I don't know what they want to do. I don't think they know what
they don't know what they want to do.
They really don't, man.
I mean, number one, they want to categorize everybody.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think they quite know how to categorize you.
They don't.
Because
they've been trying.
You can, you know, in one song to be jazz, and another song be blues, and then even pop. I mean, your commercial success on radio has been crossover pop.
Yeah.
In fact, you might have probably been one of the first crossover artists to go from the black charts over to the white charts.
That's true. I did. I did that. Matter of fact, my first album that I cut was with Les McCann. Well, they said, "Oh, he's a jazz singer." Then I cut an album called Black and Blue. They said, "No, he's a blues singer." Then I cut Love's a Hurting Thing. They said, "Oh, no, he's a pop singer." Because I did the Ed Sullivan show. And they said, "Wow, man, he made Ed Sullivan. That's pop." Because they don't put no blues and jazz people on them shows, right? You know? And so they keep saying, well, what do you call yourself? I said, I just call myself a singer for all seasons and all reasons. Whatever it takes to make the boat float, I got the battle to do it with. Now, what's happening? Now, I'm now hosting, along with Ramsey Lewis, we're co-hosting a show on BET called Jazz Central, which will be the first time there's been a show on television that actually gives jazz and blues musicians a showcase. Because, you know, it's a shame that we have all these well, now it ain't nothing but talk shows on television. Right. But when we had the variety shows, they never gave the jazz or the blues artists a real shot. They might give B.B. King a shot, right? You know, or somebody like that.
You had to have a major name,
right? Exactly.
Or else you didn't
get on. I mean, like there we got the Tonight Show. There's Branford Marsalis. He comes from a jazz family history.
You would think.
You'd think that they'd let the man play sometime, but they don't.
Yeah.
You know, what they call the powers that be say, well, you know, the market, the public don't like that stuff. They won't buy it. Who's going to the record shops buying these records? Who's going to these clubs? All of a sudden now there's a big resurgence in the clubs around the country. They started this House of Blues. Man, it's unbelievable what they're doing. And they're just like the Hard Rock and the
Hard Rock Cafe
and the Planet Hollywood. Yeah. They open up these House of Blues, man. And they turn it over, and they're getting a lot of acts because they ain't got nowhere to perform.
Isn't that the one Dan Aykroyd's behind? The House of Blues, right?
Yes.
And it's doing very well.
It's doing exceptionally well. I mean, you got acts like Tom Jones and people like that going in these places now for this, because they ain't nowhere else to go. You know, Tom works in Vegas, well, like Wayne Newton works in Vegas, but you take him out of Vegas and kiss it.
Exactly.
You know,
I mean, you know, Wayne is a wonderful performer, but in Atlantic City, he doesn't draw the crowds.
Can I tell you something? Outside of Nevada, he doesn't draw them. They just had him in Branson, Missouri. You know, the new Nashville. About 20 minutes. You know?
Was it that long? I'd heard less.
I mean, you know, now in Vegas, wherever he works, he packs the place out. He was in I think a 3,000 seat, 2,000 or 3,000 seat theater in Branson, Missouri, and he was drawing 400 or 500 people.
I didn't want to pay his band.
No, they were paying. Well, I ain't even go about it what they're paying. But you know, it's sad that the what can I say, the mechanism, the entertainment wheel, I guess, for the right sake of a word, is turning in the wrong direction. They don't. I mean, when I first started recording for Capitol back in the '60s. If they took an artist, they groomed that person. Right. They said, okay, this is the bag we're gonna put you in. Now this is all of the different, you know, inputs and the different ingredients that you need to make what could I say, a longevity. Right. Right? Now, this is the way you present yourself. This is how you look. This is how you dress.
They did it all. They booked the tours. They did the publicity. They promoted the artist.
They don't do that anymore. You know, I mean, it's like I was saying sometime in my show. I say, well, you remember, you know, you had your favorite when you were going out, when you were dating. You had your favorite song, you know, that you and your girlfriend liked, right? And so to this day, you can remember that song. Look at the kids today, 5 years from now, 2 years from now, next year. Say, baby, remember our favorite song when we was going out? Say, what?
So then, basically, what we're saying is, the recording artists don't get the support anymore.
No.
Not from the record labels, not from the radio programmers.
No.
The support has to come directly from the public.
Well, that's the thing too. Another thing about radio programming, at least they used to have, they used to have somebody at the radio station that would program the stuff. Now they have somebody living in Jump Off, Georgia, programming for a station in Seattle, Washington. Now, how can you honest and truthfully do that?
You can't.
If you're not in a market, how can you tell what that market's going to buy? And the stuff that you tell them they should be playing probably is something they should be playing in Snatchback, Mississippi somewhere. You know what I mean?
I'll put the last word on that by saying that's happened in Atlantic City over the years, where people who sit out in Los Angeles buy talent for the casinos in Atlantic City, pretending to know the market,
right? And
they don't know.
They haven't even been to Atlantic City.
Been to Atlantic City,
right?
Even before the Diving Horse. Right. And I can sit here and talk to you all night, but I know you got a show to do. Right. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Continued success on Baywatch Nights. I can't wait to see that.
Oh, it's gonna be great.
That's great.
My lady love, you've been with me through all of my ups and downs, my crazy turnarounds, lady love. I once was lost, but now with you I'm found. You got the love that